Had a chance to review the May minutes. Do we have a motion to approve, please? Motion. All right. Motion by Adam, seconded by Rob. Thank you. All in favor?
Fresh.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you. Correspondence today. Dr. Ushkow is excused, and we have a request from Delmar Bethlehem EMS to operate at the AEMT level. Of note, this is an agency that had been operating at the intermediate level. They would now like to operate at the AEMT level instead. Any commentary? Jason, any commentary?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, great. That's my commentary. Excellent. Would you like to make a motion? You probably should. Adam can make a motion.
I'm the associate. I don't know if I can make a motion. Someone else make a motion. I'll second.
There we go. Excellent. All in favor?
Who motioned?
Thank you very much. We have some other...
Dr. Daly, who motioned? Oh, Bowman. Just for the minutes.
We're going to have minutes that reflect Robert's Rules of Order. Meetings that reflect Robert's Rules of Order. We also need to do that. Some other brief pieces of correspondence that came through that I think will make sense just to get them in here. The first is a request from Clifton Park Half Moon to increase the formulary that their paramedics are intermittently transferring from the Clifton Park site of Ellis to the main Ellis campus to include proton pump inhibitors. Rob, do you want to speak to that briefly, or?
It's common. We have blood-filled personnel and GI bleeds, and they go primarily Ellis, St. Peter's, or Albany Med, the three places with transfer centers. And if it's going to be in place, we'd already have a second line running for it, so there really shouldn't be much compatibility issues. So it makes sense now to send a nurse before stopping.
I think it sounds very reasonable. Michael, anything on BPI's church thing about what he said? Okay,
Do you
excellent.
think Malta should ask at the same time, or would we approve them separately because they'll probably have the same mission?
I think we probably.
I don't think we have CPI drips at home. It won't be an issue.
Is that where they exile you?
No, I just spend a lot of nights there apparently. Never mind.
I'm gonna need a gap.
That's why the filter comes in.
Okay, so I think what instead is that if anybody else is interested, it could just be a administrative program. And I think this is a good idea. Would you like to make a motion?
Make a motion that for regional SCT teams, we allow proton pump inhibitors class as a whole.
Or for the interfacility, I would say include it in the interfacility formulary so it doesn't need to be on the SCT. Exactly. All right, seconded? Second. All in favor? Excellent, thank you. Brief agenda item from Town of Colony asking if we would approve TriTech as their vendor for EPCRs. This is a town decision. It is being used already in the state. Dean, any quick commentary before the MAC votes on it?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
TriTech approval for Colony.
It's still in the approval process, but no, nothing to say about it.
Okay, but it is being used successfully at GADAC, right? Okay, so it is hitting the straight bridge appropriately and will allow Colony to go electronic. Yes.
Electronic PCRs.
Need a motion for approval, please? Thank you. Seconded? All in favor? Any opposed? And with that, everything else is agenda items. All right. Committee reports. Dr. Joyner.
Well, we had a brief discussion about Zofran and pregnancy, a listing of a number of courses if anybody needs them that are available. We also had a long discussion about CPAP, which British and Howard come up with. And there is no meeting for July or August.
Enjoy Malta.
Blue shirt to the left of free. and they're not carrying an AED, because all they have is their little Narcan pouch. If they haven't taken that step to get an AED and that kind of stuff.
Each one of those steps comes along, all right? There aren't a lot of fire departments out there that don't carry AEDs.
Well, they may have one on a truck.
They may have won a truck, but you know, something won a truck can be enough. And we've been in positions where not having them on trucks have ultimately hurt people. Basically in this position, all right, and the reason I brought this up, and I didn't want this to deteriorate into a long conversation over something I think that's getting into a lot of the issues that Jonathan is bringing up, that this is much bigger, all right. The goal is to pull people into what we can actually affect outcome change on, rather than just handing out a tool. All right. And I'm perfectly happy to table my discussion of that for the fall.
But can you be selective to those departments that could make a difference versus just give it to everybody?
I can if I get the guidance from here to start moving that forward. Tim and I can work on policy to do that. So my motion to do that stands. Was there a second?
What's your motion? Can you repeat your motion?
My motion was that for fire departments that would like to do naloxone, they must also be involved in cardiac arrest response.
And appropriate training equipment.
And appropriate training equipment.
But then are we gonna define equipment? Well, at least have to have.
Honestly, AED.
Well, you don't want people bagging who have no experience, who are just CPR certified, they're not first responders.
I'm perfectly happy if they
CPR
respond
and
to
ED.
CPR. That's fine.
That's what our departments are doing now, the ones that we work with. They all respond to echoes, but they have an AED on their truck.
Exactly.
They do
And
CPR.
in most of the well-developed systems, right, fire departments are responding to echoes because having them there, just doing hands-only CPR at most, is going to make a difference in the outcomes of the patient.
More importantly, we get lifting assistance.
I'm not against fire departments coming to echoes. I have an issue with mandating they come to echoes just so that they can carry Narcan. I
The
don't.
departments that are going to choose to carry the Narcan are probably the departments that
Not a problem. If they want to do that, that's fine.
But we're not
to me-
mandating all fire departments, just the ones that want the Narcan.
No, but you're saying that if to carry Narcan, you have to go to all echoes. You have to dispatch yourself to echoes. That seems short-sighted in my mind. The ultimate goal of the Narcan system was to get as much Narcan out there as possible.
But the way the system is now is just shifted. You're not even going to be dispatched to it.
Right, but as we're saying, that you want to go to that level.
So you have to mandate them to that.
Okay.
No. There's another. The fire, and I swear, there's fire side is pushing for Narcan only on the trucks. Mike is saying if they're going to have Narcan, why don't they do CPR and compressions?
Yeah.
Here, I've got a systematic question.
Yeah, I was asking the same question. I mean, ask it again.
There you go.
Oh, since you asked the last one.
Yeah, that went well.
What role does the MAC play in this whole thing? Because, I mean, the MAC doesn't control what police departments have it or don't have it.
Absolutely.
So what's the role of the
I would
MAC
have to
with
defer back
regards
to
to the
the
fire
office and
department?
check, but I don't know if we have purview over fire departments.
Absolutely.
If they're not a registered or certified ELSFR.
Right.
I mean,
It's PAD with a defibrillator, but
The medical directors that are involved in the system, the medical directors of the individual fire departments, and the prescriber for that naloxone. has
but
the
is there a
purview of-
prescriber under the way
There
OFDC
is.
is rolling this out?
There is a prescriber.
Without seeing the program,
That's the
I
law.
can't comment on it.
No, the law says there has to be a prescriber.
Right, but who's the prescriber for the police department? Does this function akin to the police department program?
Each police department has a prescriber.
Understood, but does that prescriber doesn't report to the MAC?
Hmm?
So you're gonna tell
The
them
MAC
to
doesn't
provide
approve
guidance
anything.
back.
Okay. So I was just curious what the relationship is between the MAC and the police departments, the MAC and the fire department, and how this, if it's any different, or if it's ultimately the same.
I mean, Catholic Charities is pushing this stuff out. 2 weeks ago, you couldn't go onto the Gilliland Library on Monday night, sat through an hour-long training with the sheriff's department, and you were given a Narcan kit.
Yep.
So where is that different?
Actually, where it does become different is,
maybe by these little scanners.
well, Karen, where this does become different, all right, and where it really becomes an issue
is when you have volunteer firefighters who attend that program, then go home, listen to their scanner, and pick and choose calls that they then choose to self-dispatch to. Because now you have something that's outside of the system.
That's a fire
right?
commissioner issue then.
Long conversation, it ends up becoming an issue between EMS coordinators, fire chiefs, and EMS agencies. Let's table the whole discussion for right now, bring it back later. Catskill wants to make a presentation, and so does Corinth and Moreau, and I want to make sure that we've got time to do those if we can before mission night. All right. So I'm going to table that. Catskill. Where's Catskill? George? You're on, boss.
I have copies of all the supporting documentation that's required to be submitted. If any of the physicians would like a copy of that before I get started.
Don't give them a choice.
If not, what's that?
Don't give them a choice. Just give
Well,
them. You printed it. You printed the paper.
I'll take one.
See, now they're all going. You may not have enough for everybody, so if you don't want one, that's fine.
No.
Well, I'm not sure. Why is this
Still pending.
electronically?
What's going on up here?
Where can I have one?
There was communications about it being request for approval, but it wasn't approved yet.
Probably, Mike, because the guidelines for the
Still pending
approval
approval.
process are well over 10 years old. And I was not advised that would be a preference to have it that way. Okay. Is this all set to go, Dean?
It is.
Better with me for a moment.
Other side.
I don't know what they're doing right there. Oh, it's Mission Life.
Oh, it's Mission Life one.
Turn to 10 arms.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think we only have one USB port.
There are two on sorry. And there are two on the back also.
Let's try that. Maybe.
Want to pick up the conversation we had just a minute ago? We got time.
If it did, we could just ignore it.
Don't you need it?
Yeah,
Why is it not showing PowerPoint presentations? Okay. Those of you who don't know me, George June, Chief, Town of Catskill Ambulance Service. Those of you who do, nice to see you again. So, Town of Catskill Ambulance Service started in 2002 as a BLS service after the demise of the local Catskill Rescue Squad volunteer organization. Since that time, in 2004, they added BLS, epi, and albuterol. I believe it was also in 2005, they upgraded to the intermediate level of service and maintained that right up until this year. With the changes, then we switched it over to an AEMT service earlier this year. Our plan was to add, in addition to the epi and albuterol, would be to add Narcan and CPAP, but that's going to be subject to what's decided in the future here relative to the CPAP. It was our intention to add those along the way as part of the run-up to paramedic level service. Once the guidelines are established, we will definitely want to add that to the CPAP to our existing, and also we will pursue the Narcan within the next several months. When I first came in, Dr. Halperts asked me, "What are you doing here?" And I told him, he goes, "Oh, really? Still? Or finally?" This has been under consideration, by the town of Catskill since 2006, according to the records that I was able to find. When I came to the town in 2012, the town board had been told by previous administrators that they were very close to being ready to go to the paramedic level. And the town board believed that. My assessment was different, and that's why it's been a couple years since I got there that we've finally gotten to this point. Currently, in our system, step back out of the way, here. We operate in a two-tiered ALS system where ALS in the county is provided by Green EMS Incorporated. They are automatically dispatched based on EMD criteria. Unfortunately, the most accurate and up-to-date call stats that we are able to obtain from our 911 center are from 2013. And as Aiden well knows, it was a monumental effort to even get that data and get it distilled so it was somewhat usable to the EMS agencies. But for that year, the town of Catskill handled just under 3,400 total calls. 3,195 of those were 911 calls. We had 2,690 patient transports generated from the 911 calls. And of those, over 1,400 of them were dispatched as ALS indicated, or a paramedic was indicated for those. And those resulted in approximately 740 ALS transports. As is required by the upgrade policy, we did notify all of our surrounding agencies of our intent to upgrade. And in that packet, you'll see they all signed for the letters. We only received 2 responses back acknowledging receipt and understanding of our plan to upgrade, and that was from Green EMS and from the town of Cairo ambulance. Currently, the town of Catskill has 8 paramedics on staff. 5 of them are full-time, 3 are part-time. We have 4 advanced EMTs. 3 are online, 1 has completed the course and is in the internship phase currently. 17 EMTs. As a holdover from previous administrations, there was 2 driver positions. Those are scheduled to be eliminated at the end of this year. Amongst those AEMTs and 17 EMTs, we have 4 paramedic students that are going through class right now, and that will be testing out in the month of August. And we have 3 more students who've just started in your AEMT course in Cobleskill. Here's our proposed schedule. This is what it looks like. Basically, we're looking at 2 paramedics, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with 3 crews on duty during daytime and 2 crews at night. The 3rd daytime crew, you can see, is listed here as a combination of an AEMT or EMT with an EMT. This is only on here to show that, yes, we have to put those people on the schedule, but that's only through the end of the year. Once those positions are eliminated, those will be converted over to EMT slots. So effectively, 2 paramedics on duty during the day, with the 3rd crew being able to staff it at that level, at advanced EMT with an EMT or driver partner. And then the medics, where this is also an upgrade, is currently we only have 2 crews on during the weekend days. This will be actually adding an additional crew on the weekend days. Based on our current staffing, we have the ability to fill at least 15 paramedic shifts. That's just with the 5 full-timers. So knowing that we still would have 13 paramedic shifts to fill, we need to hire at least 8 part-time paramedics to be able to achieve that. So to fill that need, currently I have 12 paramedic applications that are pending. We have not advertised yet for hiring paramedics. This is all through word of mouth, people who are aware that we are intending to upgrade. Some of them have gotten ahead of the curve and already applied. Others have verbally indicated that once they know we're going, that they're going to submit applications. So I don't foresee a problem in obtaining the additional paramedics to staff at that level. Town of Catskill is involved in the CME research program. It's available to all of our employees. We are an AMC Outreach CME location through our affiliation with Catskill High School, so our crew staff has access, easy access, to all the Albany Med CME offerings twice monthly. The town, as part of its employee benefit program for all town employees, not just in the ambulance service, but all town employees, has a tuition reimbursement program available. We have had several people take advantage of that in the past, and that will apply for any additional staff that are interested in upgrading, whether it's going from EMT to advanced EMT or up to the paramedic level. Currently, our ALS coordinator position is part of the collective bargaining agreement. It's written in there now at the AEMT level, so once we can finalize changing that with the union, we will be posting that and hiring a new ALS coordinator who is our paramedic. As far as the plan to secure narcotics in the not too distant future, I've met with the pharmacy director at Columbia Memorial Hospital. We have a tentative agreement. We will iron out a more formal contract with them to supply us with our narcotics. We'll be utilizing Key Systems Incorporated safes that are currently in use at several agencies. Greenport, Galatia are two that I am familiar with. There may be others out there. And we expect to submit a NARCS plan to DOH by August. If we were approved now, we would hope to submit. Obviously, can't put the cart before the horse. We have to have approval from the region to be declared a paramedic level service before we can apply to DOH for narcotics license. We have done field evaluations of LifePak 15 and the Zoll X Series monitors. We're obtaining staff feedback, and I know there's several people in the room. I'd be interested to talk to you later about your experience with the Zoll machines. Our sales rep, we are in Greene County, we are the northernmost portion of the southern Zoll sales territory. So that sales rep doesn't have any knowledge, intimate knowledge of what your experiences have been up here in the Remo region. So I'd be interested to discuss that with some of you folks before we make a final decision on which machine to go with. We've also, as a municipality, we need to get price quotes. So we've done that legwork to get pricing quotes for a lot of the other ALS supplies that are going to be required for this upgrade. Once all that's in place, we do intend to want to add MFI at some point down the road. I would hope possibly within a year. That's certainly all going to be up to Dr. Stanger when he's achieved a level of comfort with that and as far as oversight. When it comes to mutual aid, we will continue to participate in the Greene County EMS Mutual Aid Plan. We work well with our neighboring agencies, so we'll provide that mutual aid support as well as ALS intercepts as resources will allow. If any of the other services were not able to obtain a medic or conditions change en route to the hospital, they need ALS, and we are the closest ALS, we will provide that service. We also will plan to enter into mutual aid agreements with Greene EMS and Greenport Rescue. Those are our two neighboring paramedic level services. That's kind of in a nutshell where we're at, where we're looking to go. Again, based on the guidelines that we were provided as far as the ALS upgrade, things that needed to be addressed to this point. One of the things, some of you may be asking, okay, well, how many times, I think it's listed in the thing, how many times did Catskill Ambulance need a paramedic and wasn't able to get a paramedic? We do not have the ability to get that information from our 911 center. They have no records of that type of information. And I know Greene EMS keeps track of how many times they're not available for calls, but it's not broken down specific as to who the transporting agency was that they weren't available for. So whether it's going through our 911 center or through Greene EMS, we really don't have the ability to extract that information. at this point. So, I would open it up. Dr. Stanger, if you have anything else you want to add, I'd be available for questions.
Yeah, I'll be available. I don't have much else.
And, sorry, and I'm sure it's in here at some point. How many ALS transports were there in Catskill that would now be responded to by your medics? And do you have any sense of how that's going to impact the other agencies around?
I think the number was just under
7.
800, 790.
714.
What's that, 7?
714, I thought it was. It's on like the third slide.
The real number that is provided there is off of 2013 data.
Okay.
The true number is probably significantly higher than that. Because currently what happens in Greene County is the paramedic responding has the ability to downgrade a call to BLS. Be that the right call or not, that's what happens. And so probably a significant number of these 700 ALS transports, the real number may be up around 1,100 or 1,200 that could have benefited from an IV and an EKG that were downgraded to the hospital. So they're probably going to be responding to about figure 1,100 to 1,200 true ALS calls.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about it from the other side too, is that's 1,100 or less calls in the other agencies, just from a regional perspective.
From a system, a more global approach, from a system standpoint, for argumentative sake, let's say Greene EMS, which has 4 paramedics on duty at any given time right now, if they, because of decrease in call volume for them, they drop a car, they go down to 3, but we've added 2, so the net effect is now there's 5 paramedics on duty in the county as opposed to where there would have been 4 previously.
Dr. Jelly, with the chair's permission, the rest of the REMAC, would I be able to speak to this?
Actually, we're going to do 2 things. One is to note that we have a significant number of people gathering outside our door for the Mission Lifeline meeting. So we're going to have to call this short. I think Adam's raised a really important question, which is how does this impact the rest of the system in Greene? Craig didn't speak to that, and I think it's the fiscal impact of this across the entire system that while it not truly be the purview of the MAC, before we look to see whether or not we should approve something in a setting where it could impact the rest of the county, I think we need that data. And that data needs to be solid so we can see it, and we should be able to review it ahead of time and make sure that we can make reasonable decisions. Because I could see this affecting people from the mountaintop all the way to the river.
Could you be more specific? I mean, financial analysis was not part of what was asked to
I'm going to be
provide.
really specific, George. I want to make sure that a change in the way ALS care is provided in Greene County as a choice by the town of Catskill doesn't eliminate the ability for ALS care to be provided in the rest of the county. And I think we need to make sure that we look at that information if it's available. All right. And you're right, it wasn't part of the application. All right. But you know something, considering how care is provided across a region is something that's profoundly important.